been a long time coming, but it's cool that it's already, 100% done, and I can look at the engine bay and say, oh, I'm finished, at least until something breaks. What's up YouTube, Crafting Cars here, happy Tuesday. Now in today's video, we're basically going to be wrapping up everything left that we have to do in this engine bay. Now earlier today, I took that valve cover off. I did a quick valve lash adjustment. I should have done that earlier, but I waited a little bit. Got that valve cover back on. I got some silicone on there, so it's sealing up right now. So while I wait, I'd like to throw on my radiator hoses that I made up, my intercooler piping, and all of the fluids. Now I don't have another person to help me bleed the fluids today. I might get a bleeder kit later on, I'll see. But we're gonna be putting in, like the manual transmission fluid, the oil, the coolant, brake fluid, power steering fluid, clutch fluid. I think that's it. And any other fluids I come across today. All right, now the first thing I'm gonna be throwing in the vehicle today is my radiator hoses. Now I made these out of Vibrant AN lines. I think it's -16 AN size, and also Vibrant fittings. Now these are actually kind of hard to make because cutting it's kind of a bitch. Getting the fittings on is kind of tough, and then these lines are not very flexible. But I'm gonna throw them in the car real quick. All right, now the first one I'm gonna go ahead and install is my lower radiator hose. This is gonna be a little bit longer. It goes from this back fitting right here and snakes all the way down to the bottom of the radiator to this fitting right here. Alrighty, now I'm gonna throw on the top one. And that's gonna go from this fitting right here to this fitting right here. Alright, so as you can see, we got all the lines ran all the way from where it comes out of the main water outlet, connected to the filler spout here. It's gonna go into the radiator, down here, and this is actually, it's a dual pass radiator, but the channels inside the radiator are like B-shaped, so it's actually like a quadruple pass radiator. So needless to say, my Civic stays cooler than yours. And then I got this fitting down here, coming all the way up to the main thermostat housing. So that's all wrapped up. I went ahead, grabbed my wrench, and tightened everything down. And the next thing I gotta do is install this one small section of intercooler piping right in there. And I'm gonna be installing my HKS blow-off valve as well. Alright, so we got the intercooler piping all installed and clamped up and everything feels good. Next thing I gotta do is install this HKS blow-off valve. I've got the gasket and screws ready here for me to mount it. If you don't know, blow-off valve is basically what gets rid of all the excess boost pressure and makes all the cool noises that you hear in most turbocharged cars. It's like when you let off the gas and you hear that loud or a most of that comes from this. Alright, and with most blow-off valves, I have to hook up this 1/8 vacuum line. This is a reference port, they call it, on these blow-off valves, and basically what it does is it tells the blow-off valve when the engine's making boost and when it's making vacuum. and so it knows kind of when to hold pressure and when to release pressure. Just like that. Alrighty, now at this part you are looking at the completed engine bay. Every part that I have to install on this car has now been installed. Of course, I still want to give it a good once over and maybe reroute a couple of lines to go for that cleaner look. But this is it, folks. This is what it's all about right here. All the mechanical work is done. I can put away my ratchet, my wrenches, and all my screwdrivers and everything. And I think it's about time we fill this bitch up with some fluids. Alright, so since this is the first time I'm filling this built motor up with oil, I'm going to be running break-in oil. This is AMS oil, break-in oil for engine builders. This stuff's dope because it has no friction modifiers, which makes your piston rings seat super well. And it's also got a ton of zinc in it, which is super nice for fresh engine parts. More important for old engines, but it helps a lot with new engines too. Smells pretty good. It's going to take about 4 quarts of this, I'm guessing. I think a regular Honda is like 3.5 quarts, but we have like turbo, oil pump, and a couple oil lines as well, so it's probably going to take around 4 quarts. Alright, so 4 quarts actually only got us to the very bottom of the dipstick. I guess that is a pretty high capacity oil pan. So I'm going to top it off with some AMS Oil Signature Series. Alright, so next up for my transmission fluid, I'm running OEM Honda manual transmission fluid. And to fill this up, you gotta go all the way down to that plug down there. And you basically take a long funnel or something with the hose, stick it in there, start filling it up, and once it starts pouring back out the hole, you know that you're filled to the right level. Plug. Alright, now for the antifreeze, I'm just using regular blue Asian vehicle coolant. Filling it up through this filler neck here, making sure to wipe out my funnel in between all these fluids here because you don't want to get any oil in your coolant. You don't want to get any coolant in your oil. Alright, engine and the reservoir is topped off. Let's move on to the power steering. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and fill up the brake master cylinder and the clutch master cylinder using DOT 4 brake fluid here. Alright, so that's going to wrap up the video today. I'm super excited that we got all new fluids in that car and that I'm all done installing parts into that engine bay. It's been a long time coming, but it's cool that it's already, 100% done. I can look at the engine bay and say, oh, I'm finished, At least until something breaks, but it's super cool. I'm excited. The next step here, the next big step, is to get into that ECU. I got to create a custom base map. Which is basically telling the car's computer, what sensors it's got hooked up, trying to get everything tuned correctly so it can run nice and smooth. And then I gotta, keep bleeding the fluids, like I gotta bleed the clutch fluid, the brake fluid, and once the engine's running, I can finally bleed the coolant and everything like that. Hopefully that all goes smoothly. But yeah, in the next video, either this coming Friday or this coming Tuesday, I'll be sure to get you guys, I'll show you what's going on my computer when I tune the car. So then when I finally start it up, we'll see if everything's working all right. And yeah, a lot of people ask questions like, oh, how do you know, what do you mean tune the car? Well, you're about to find out, so stay tuned. Big shout out, thank you guys for 200 subscribers. We must be over 200 subscribers now. That's pretty huge. My goal personally was to get to 200 subscribers by the end of the year, but it looks like now we might get 300 subscribers by the end of the year. So if that happens, I got a whole bunch of stickers and shit to give away, so that would be kind of a cool idea. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, until then, see you next time.